Andre Onana should not be Manchester United's #1 goalkeeper going into next season, and I'm gonna tell you why. Now, there was a lot of noise about this move initially in how we dealt with David De Gea, the whole situation with John Murta and Ten Hag. And on reflection, it was disgusting the way we treated a legend like De Gea, who had saved us so many times during, many different campaigns. And, you kind of look at that, and there was a lot of players who wasn't happy about it. There was a lot of fans who certainly wasn't happy about it as well and made their voice known. But at the time, the situation with De Gea, he started making mistakes in Europe against Sevilla. And, we went in there 2-0 up and ended up losing the game 3-0, and he had a big say in that. And not only just that as well, the mistakes from Europe were starting to creep into the Premier League. You saw mistakes, for example, like Everton, just off the top of my head. You saw mistakes against West Ham, I think, where Ben Rama had a shot, and it was a bit like, So, not only, obviously, shot stopping, typically, he was really, really good at. But there was mistakes creeping into his game. And not only that, we wanted a goalkeeper who wanted to play out from the back, right? So forgive myself if I was slightly behind the move, if I was not optimistic about it. But when the opportunity arose to sign a goalkeeper who was the best in the Champions League that campaign, that has to be stressed, one of the best in that kind of competition, and was considered elite at playing out from the back, of course my eyes lit up. Of course I was like, yeah, absolutely. If this is going to improve the team fundamentally in how Erik Ten Hag at the time wants to play, who am I to criticise a signing like this, right? But I think it was evident from pretty early that this guy has got some cobwebs, and this guy has brought some baggage, and this guy has mistakes. And that was kind of set the tone from early. So what I've done is I've compiled a list of mistakes that he's made so far, and I might have missed one or two, so apologies if I have. I don't think I have. I've gone through it with a fine-tooth comb, and this is in 2 seasons, okay? This is not a hit piece on Andre Onana. This is simply just facts that I'm putting out there, all right? And I'm going to balance it with the fact that obviously he's made some incredible saves. He's put on some really good performances as well. But it's about balance. It's about scales. And right now, if you're talking about mistakes in one hand here, and if you're talking about great saves and moments that he's had, the mistakes completely outweigh it. And that's what we're going to get into. So, pre-season, we're talking here. This is one of the first few games at the club to set the tone, to show me your experience, to show him what you're about. He gets chipped from the halfway line against Lawns. All right? I'm going to cast your mind back here because there's probably some that you guys have forgotten about. But honestly, first game of the season against Wolves, what happens? Cross comes into the box. He basically Mike Tyson someone right in the face. VAR have a look at it and don't give it. And we're very lucky to get away with that. And that's when Wolves absolutely battered us as well. They should have come away with a result there. We was absolutely shit. Versus Sheffield, I think it was. He gives it. He tries passing it out to Dalot, and I want to say it's Brereton Diaz, but I feel like it might be someone else as well who pinches it and ends up scoring. They're in a yellow kit, and I think they score at Old Trafford. That's another mistake. Against Nottingham Forest, a 1-year goes through 1-on-1. You've got Rashford and Anthony who were chasing him, I think. He fakes a little shot. Onana completely falls on his ass, and he just tucks it away in the bottom corner. Schoolboy shit. This is 3. Galatasaray, when Zaha scores, Dalot is at fault for it as well. He needs to deal with it much better. But he kicks into the ground, and Onana basically watches him bounce over him. His positioning could have been better. People might say that's harsh. You're entitled to have that opinion on that specific one. Against Galatasaray, again, passes it straight out to Artukoglu, 1-on-1. Casemiro has to snap him. Casemiro gets sent off. That affects the whole result of the game, basically. In the Brentford game, you've got Jensen, who scores. There's a calamity with, I think, Lindelof and Casemiro, where it's kind of a bit of a thing there. They end up getting on the edge of the box. Jensen shoots, and Onana kind of dives, but stays central there in the middle of the goal. And it's just a really weird, awkward dive. I don't understand it at all. And they end up scoring. Declan Rice for Arsenal scores at the near post. Needs to do better. Leroy Sané's shot for Bayern Munich from the edge of the box goes straight through his hands, straight into the back of the net. There was 2 Ziyech free kicks when we was playing them away in Turkey. The first one was bad. The second one was absolutely fucking criminal, and probably the worst one out of them all. That's how bad I was seething at the time when that happened on the review. Again, against Galatasaray, I mean, he's got so many mistakes in this game. He got lobbed by Icardi and was just frozen, was stuck there, didn't know what to do. Again, against Nottingham Forest, Morgan Gibbs-White shoots from outside the box, straight at him. Literally in the middle of the goal, goes through his hands. They go 1-0 up, I think it is. Against Everton, recently, saves the first shot, parries the ball to Decore scores. Against Spurs this season, first shot to parries straight out to James Maddison scores. Victoria Pleasant, a dreadful pass to De Ligt, very similar to one at Sheffield, picked off by Sulic. Sulic steps up Vidra, who used to play for Burnley. Easy finish for them. He dies way too early for the Cole Palmer goal when he scored at Old Trafford. Last night, runs out to collect the ball. Him and Dorgu have a miscommunication. He should have left Dorgu to it. Ipswich scored a first goal within minutes. And maybe you can criticise him for the second goal as well, but I'll leave that to you lot. I think it might have been a bit harsh. And there's probably more. That's the damning thing. There's probably little ones that I've missed, but I've gone through as many games as I can to kind of compile this evidence. This is in 2 seasons. 2 seasons. You can go through someone's career and they won't have that many mistakes. So there's the starting point. It was an extremely, extremely bad start. He's already not filling the team with confidence when we're broken mentally anyway. We need a strong character. And maybe he has got strong character and personality. That's fine. But he is weak in game. We need someone like a Schmeichel in net who you trust at the back. You have 100% trust in him. I know David De Gea, for example, had a great connection with the players. There was a lot of respect there from his peers. He's one of the only players in the team to win a Premier League title, along with Phil Bones-Jones, of course, who could never stay fit. And there was players who wasn't happy. There was fans who wasn't happy with the way he had been treated. So this signing was already stained by the time he was coming into the club. You put the Champions League campaign onto that as well. He single-handedly had the worst Champions League campaign from any high-level experienced goalkeeper you've ever seen. He made a mistake nearly every single game, which dropped us points, whether it was through distribution, concentration, positioning, or just plain shot-stopping. Terrible. I think he did a couple at Inter Milan before we signed him, but nowhere near on this scale. Not even close to it. We went out bottom of the group. We had Copenhagen, Galatasaray, and Bayern Munich all finish above us. We ended on 4 points, winning 1 game, drawn 1, and lost the rest. And we conceded 15 goals in the group stages. 15. And he played a major part in that. Now, the second half of the season, he did start to improve. He got Player of the Month in March in 2024. He had a couple of nice performances in the Europa League, in particular against Fenerbahce. Pulled us out of the fire at times with great double saves. And the saves in, Southampton games, for example. A couple of Premier League ones where you're like, okay, it led fans, including myself, and maybe you guys as well, to believe, okay, he's starting to improve now. It looks like he's starting to get back on track. Hold me beer. Second season comes along, same old mistakes start to creep in. Not only there's been plenty of examples of season where his parrying technique, his distribution, his diving at times has been so bad. That's added on now to individual mistakes. And we're seeing a variety of it now. It's almost like it's spread, this kind of goalkeeper disease. I think his distribution is something I want to focus on as well. We brought him in to play out from the back, and I feel like every time I watch him, he's going long. And every time we go long, we never win the ball. So the team get the ball back. I remember having similar frustrations with David De Gea in the final against City, the first one that we lost. We were trying to get a foothold in the game, but because the keeper's going long every time, they recycle possession, and then we're back, running like headless chickens again. And we brought in Onana to take that away and have more dominance in the game and play out from the back. Now, we've seen bits and bobs where he's had those kind of lofted passes going into the wing backs and things like that. That's great, right? But we expected more. He's supposed to be an elite ball-playing goalkeeper, and we haven't seen that standard, no way near it. I was having this back and forth with my mate in like a WhatsApp chat and speaking to him about this, and he was like, I think he's good at playing out from the back. I think he's this and da-da-da. I don't see it. Maybe it's a subjective thing. I don't see it in games. I see him going long all the time, and he does the odd occasion pass. I'd say 70% is long range, 30% there's some nice intricate ones that he does. And there's a lot of people at the moment saying, well, we need to have this awkward conversation with Andre Onana. We need to do it. It's not awkward. For me, I can confidently say right now, we should go get a goalkeeper in the summer. Hands down. No going backsies. None of that. I was done after the Galatasaray game when Ziyech scored those 2 free kicks. I gave him a second chance and was like, nope, he's getting better now. I'm not one to have an agenda. Let's move on. Let's do it, etc., etc. And again, he's back to the old Onana. So I think we should sell him in the summer and bring a goalkeeper because he's still got value. You can still sell Andre Onana easily for 30, 40 million quid. No problem whatsoever. Because in goalkeeper terms, he's still relatively young. He's got a good pedigree playing for big clubs. You will get that fee. You will command a fee for him. So if you're going to do it, you want to do it now. You don't want to wait until he gets older and older and his value depreciates. The question is after that, and what I want to finish on is, what goalkeeper should we go for? And, you know, who should we go and get? Who would suit us? Now, I know we'd been linked with previously Zion Suzuki, who's still having a wonderful season. And we've been linked with him before, but he's younger as well. So you may see kind of similar teething issues with that. Diogo Costa, I'm a big fan of. I think he's a talented goalkeeper. He's amazing on the ball as well. Good shot stopper. But again, people will pull up the mistakes he made in the World Cup in Qatar to say basically like, oh, well, we could face similar issues again. And so for me personally, this is where the scouts and analysts earn their coin, right? This is where you go and find a diamond in the rough out there. Or do you just go and pay premium? Do you just go throw money at Oblak, Atletico Madrid, for example? Would he be a right fit? I'm not sure, but this is where they need to get, like, there's so many priorities in the summer that people are talking about, and rightfully so. In striker position, we need another wing back, we need a midfielder, we probably need a centre back, an attacking player, and a goalkeeper. So it feels like it's probably going to be snubbed, and I would guess that we're probably going to go into next season, I think, with Onana still as the number one goalkeeper, which is a huge problem, right? But because there is so many problems, if you said to me now, do you want to go and sign a goalkeeper or a striker? It's a striker all day. A striker, a wing back, and then probably a goalkeeper, and, you know, you could discuss the rest of the positions in terms of priority. But yeah, I mean, based on the evidence, we need a new goalkeeper. We need a new number one. I can't keep going into games, because I think as fans, if we don't trust him to put in a performance, what the fuck are the players thinking? Walking out the tunnel thinking, oh God, I hope he keeps his head today. I hope he doesn't make a mistake. I hope he doesn't throw us under the bus. And you can't be thinking that about your goalkeeper. That should be the most solid, focused man. He should be screaming at you because you're making mistakes. And it becomes a kind of this vortex of mistakes that just, you know, even between the back line as well, because they're not confident. And yeah, it's affecting the team too much for me personally. So look, if there are people out there who still want to persist with him and still think he's a fantastic goalkeeper, fair play to you. But for me, Andre Onana should not be Manchester United's number one goalkeeper going forward. And that is how I feel. Let us know your thoughts and comments in the comments section. Smash a like in the video, subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.